Okay. This seems a bit weird now. So I'm gonna try a new kind of stream today where I'm gonna throw some stuff here on the paper, but I'm a little bit like the OBS seems very laggy now with this thing, so I'm not sure if this is gonna work out. I'm a little bit afraid that it's gonna crash or something, so but we will see. See how it goes. Like it seems like super laggy also on the stream, and I'm not quite sure like what is causing this lag now. It might be that I'm like in some earlier streams I haven't been using the webcam, at least not on this resolution, so I think the webcam is causing the lag. Maybe. Like maybe I think my computer is just getting to be too old. I think that's like so. I think it's getting like a very small FPS. I think this is still old. It's not really. Let's see. But I've been meaning to get a new computer, so this could again be like one extra reason to get that. So I'm looking at Task Manager now, and it's showing me that OBS is taking like it's taking like 75-80% of my CPU, so that's like it's I think this webcam stuff is just super heavy for the CPU, or I don't know, like I think webcam stuff itself shouldn't be, but maybe it's that like because I don't think that webcams, like using a webcam like in itself has like caused any issues before. Maybe it's just like that you are broadcasting the webcam or something, I don't know, like or just like webcam in OBS, so it's like maybe it's just super heavy for OBS or something like that. So this might not work out so well, but we're gonna take a little bit of try it out a little bit maybe. So the topic here is that there's like let's see, I'm gonna try to draw. So here we have an x-axis, we have time, and then we're gonna have some, I'm just gonna put this, maybe we have I don't know, this will try out so fast, so I'm just gonna put this. So let's see, we have the time, and then we have like, let's say let's say we have like here like potential of humankind or something like that, or maybe like utility slash potential or something along those lines. And then we also have like a survival probability of humankind. So okay, it's like officially stuck now. It's not. Is it stuck? Is it just stuck for me? Okay, I'm not sure. Let's see. I'm gonna pause that, and I'm gonna play here. Yeah, it looks pretty bad, or it looks like it's not. It's probably not. I don't know. Maybe it's not working at least as well as I was hoping. So I think like regarding like humankind's future, there's like both optimism and pessimism, and I think both, or like there's. So let's have here, like we have here the present time. So I think there's like good justification for both very like positive views on humankind's future as well as for the negative views. So, and I'm gonna like maybe, but if you have some kind of bias there, I think like on either direction, if you're like too optimistic or if you're too pessimistic, it might have like a. I think both of those cases can lead you to be passive on regarding on what you can do to help the situation, to help humankind's future. So maybe look at like some positives first, and I think that comes if you look at the utility or the potential of humankind. So, and like maybe some measures here on so we have like population size. So this is like how many people there are in the world. So so if there's if being alive brings some utility, or if we are like on average, if we are happy, then the larger the population, the larger is the utility or the happiness. Then we have like a life expectancy. So this is like how long do people live. So this is also like, I think like some kind of, well, it's nice to know that you're gonna live for long, and it's also some kind of proxy for other kind of welfare measures and like how well the society takes care of the population and stuff like that. So So then we have like child mortality, for example, education level, some kind of like democracy indexes or whatever, democracy level or something like that, because it's I think it's some kind of like a measure also for, I don't know, self-actualization, or like somehow you can affect society and like I don't know, some happiness. I think so, some kind of polls and whatever. So, but like for some of the, okay, maybe also like extreme, so poverty levels, and then also like some GDP or income measures. So I think like many of this stuff, there's been like a history of it getting better. Like we have this, if we look at our past before 2024, like all of these measures, like there was like, for example, like I think like population size is like, I think it's maybe the most meaningful, and it's also like lots of this progress has been happening at the kind of like similar to the population size, and like there's been like a, okay, so I don't know, there's been like a very large increase in all of this, like what I would like call like some kind of like utility. Like if you only just use like, I think like there's a lot of like sense to use population size as some kind of like, I don't know, if you only want to choose one measure, because especially because you cannot really like all kind of like happiness polls and stuff like that. It's I don't know, there's also like this like comparison to basically like other people, and comparison to maybe like past time or something like that. And people, when they answer those questions, they are also always like they're relating it to some fixed point, and maybe like relating it to average, and relating it to maybe some time in the past, their own past, or like some like a historical period that they can comprehend. So I think it's like, I'm not sure, like it makes sense if we can like get good measures, but I don't know, I think it also has to do like maybe with some happiness or utilities. It's always some kind of like relative thing, so it's very difficult. But we are like in the future also, like I don't know, if we're gonna put here like, let's say we put here 2100. Okay, this scale down doesn't, I don't think it works anymore, because this population, I think it would be a lot more flat now if we're gonna like now use these time measures somehow. But if we look at like population, we're gonna like grow larger, and I think there's gonna be, I think the predictions are that we're gonna have like peak population by year 2080 or something like that, and then it's gonna be quite flat, and maybe start reducing a bit, like the because the fertility levels keep decreasing, and after 2100, I don't know if there are like lots of like predictions here, but and of course this prediction also is like there's like lots of uncertainty around it, but like it's gonna be even a lot more uncertain after 2100, because we don't know like what are gonna be like some trends in like how many children do people want and stuff like that. But so let's say that we can have like a different kind of paths after that, and there's like a lot of, as I was saying, like it's very hard to like for each person like to think about what's gonna be the happiness of each of us, but I think there's a lot of these measures that we have here, they're gonna be increasing also in the future, like life expectancy increasing all around the world, child mortality is still like decreasing, education levels, they are increasing, the democracy is a little bit like so I think like in past like maybe 10 years, 20 years, there's been like a negative progress after decades of positive progress there, and yeah, so that's a little bit like and there's like a lot of threats there. I'm not sure about these happiness indicators, because as I was saying, like if people are always like relating it to what was before, then that's a little bit like tricky. There's like it's hard to it might I don't know if there's like if someone has studied like because usually when you have these happiness polls, there's the comparison to other countries in the world, there's comparison of like on like which countries are the happiest and so on, but I don't know if there's really like any like if there's this kind of like time series comparison going on or not. So I'm not sure like what's happening there. It's okay, I'm not sure if is the stream working. Is it just lagging again? It's like super laggy. I'm gonna pause it there, and I'm gonna check it here if it's working. Okay, maybe at least a little bit. But I don't think it's good if, yeah. So extreme poverty, I think that's also like still decreasing, maybe a little bit slower than before. GDP, income measures, yes, they are can actually put they are increasing on average. So yeah, there's like a lot of reasons to believe like that this would increase these lines here relative to the baseline. So relative to just like looking at population, there's like some kind of increase there on this like utility thing, and of course, the tricky thing with the population is like if you go at so if you look at let's look at some threats to so what we have here is like so resource scarcity is kind of like I think like, and I'm gonna like have many of these like let's see, like we have this like conflict enhancers. So okay, we could also use this maybe as some kind of like utility measure. Like it can tell that like we have if we use a lot of our resources well, then we are like we can take like full advantage of our resources, so that might like increase the utility, but then we have like this case that we use so much of our resources that we cannot replenish them, or like it's just that like there's gonna be, because of the inequalities, there's gonna be people who are gonna be using resources that other people cannot use because of that. So, and there's also like then this inequality between people, and then there's inequality between countries, and these kind of like both big cases, like also resource scarcity of some countries. Then we have like climate change. So I'm trying to like somehow like let's see like how could I say it, like disastrous wars or conflicts. So the climate change is also conflict enhancer. Then we have like or maybe this should be like conflict probability. And then we have conflict destructiveness. enhancers. So if we have both of these, so we have the probability of the conflicts, and then we have the how destructive the conflicts are. Then that's kind of like those kind of like accumulate to the disastrous wars and conflicts. So then we have like a nuclear weapons. So that's again so case of like conflict destructiveness enhancer, and then we have like what do you call, like engineered pandemics. So that's like destructiveness. So if there's a conflict, then they could use like engineered pandemics. I'm not sure if that's kind of like the correct term, but okay, but those are like something, and maybe also like maybe also like AI technology. So okay, I'm not sure like which one. Maybe this can contribute to both ones. Like the probability increase in terms of like it can create like easily create like misinformation and stuff like that. It can be used to manipulate people, but that's at least what's happening. And also like it can create some very strong weapons, or like some kind of like I don't know, maybe it can be used like have like destructive purposes. So this is so where this can lead now is like extinction, or it's extinction, or how would you say it, like when it's very like okay, let's have like civilizations collapse. Okay, human extinction or civilizations collapse. So I think like let's see how this goes. It's a little bit. So I think like until maybe 50s. So if we go like 70 years back here, so let's see, we have if you have like 1975 here, and then we have like 1950 or something like that. So until that time we had like the survival probability of mankind was basically like 100 each year, or I don't know, maybe there was like some chance of some kind of like, I don't know, what do you call, like natural pandemics, like like some, you know, like they had the Black Death or whatever. Okay, I've lost some stream. They had the Black Death or whatever in the okay, here's YouTube. In the medieval times, but I don't know if it actually had like a chance to like collapse the civilization, but it did like okay, let's say civilization here. So but at the 50s, like both like the Soviets and the Americans, or the West, or like Americans and some other Western countries, you could like probably say like the East and the West, they both had like so much had amassed like atomic bombs to some scale that you could cause some like mutual destruction. So I think they suddenly like, okay, and these are like now very like the lines that I'm drawing here, these are like very I don't know like but they became during the Cold War, there were some periods that were very like very well, it was very close to be at least like some level of nuclear war, and like it's I don't know like how big the impacts could have been, like what's the, if there was a nuclear war, like how destructive would have been, and what kind of like nuclear winter possibilities and stuff like that. And I think like in the 70s, if I remember correctly, in the 70s it was maybe a little bit better, and then it will get worse again in the 80s, and then we have the end of Cold War. I think it got better, and but then like there's been this tension again, like early 2000s, from early 2000s maybe, or I don't know, at least like 20 years or something like that. So there's been this quite a lot of like again like so I think like all of these, like I think this, I don't know like what's the actual like what's the measure here that I'm trying to use. Is just like annual probability of survival. For that, I think it would be quite a bit too low, so they would need to be adjusted upwards. But it can also be like some kind of like uh, view probability that uh, like maybe like next 100 years, like based on the information that they have on that time, uh, something like that. I don't know, because I don't want to like, yeah. And there's this. I think this is somehow quite a nice measure to look at, because I remember like reading some opinions on this probability, and some kind of like estimates. Uh, I remember some poll from I don't know what's maybe it was some group in the Oxford University or something, but they asked like maybe I don't know maybe some like 20 people, like what's the probability of some kind of like maybe extinction, or like for humankind, like maybe it's extinction, or maybe it's like some kind of like what's the societal collapse, or some kind of like some kind of like doomsday event thing to happen in the next 100 years. If I remember correctly, and this was done like in the early 2000s or something, and I think it was something like 16, 17%, or maybe 19. I don't know, like something like that, but I might remember incorrectly. For the kind of like what they estimated for this kind of like doomsday probability. So if we take the inverse of that, we get a little bit higher than 80%. So if we have it like here somehow, and I think since then, I don't think the situation has gotten better. I think there's like there's the like Russia's attack on Ukraine, and like threatening like use nukes and stuff like that. So there's I think there's like a very high like it's quite a high risk involved. So so if we are at like let's try to think like if we have like that kind of like high probability, and I'm like trying to think like can I think about this in so let's say we have like this kind of like base probability to survive now around like 80% that we survive until, okay, let's have it like until like so this somehow says like, so if it stays the same, so like if we go like 2050 here, it would mean that like there's a, because for the next 100 years there's a 80% chance that we will make it until like 2150. So this is what it would mean in essence. And you could turn this into some kind of like a yearly value as well. But I don't know, this could be kind of like a good way to look at this I don't know. So now if we have this value here, and I think there are like lots of like this could lead to quite a bit of like pessimism, like because if you look at it now, like being 80%, and there's a lot of like threats to us, we might think that it's not worth it to address those threats, because like even if we survive for say 100 years here, then we would have to survive. It might happen again like in the next 100 years. So if we take like a 300 year, okay, let's have like a 400 year time scale, then we have like a survival probability of 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.8. So this now goes like to, this will be now less than 0.5, so less than 50% in like a, and the lower it goes, like we add there like a 100 years or more, or like a 2000, like 1,000 years more, we might get like under 0.1. So it gets like a very probable that humanity is not gonna survive like a millennia or something like that. So that could like that could cause some passivity among people, that okay, I don't have to do anything, like we're gonna die anyway at some point. But this is very much a thing that can be affected, and also I think that this might be like a short-term problem. And of course, like so if it's the case that we get to a higher level, or like the base level is gonna increase at some point. So if we are if we get like if we get to like 95% in 100 years, because we defeat some of the stuff here, then it gets like it's not gonna be like likely anymore that we're gonna be extinct in 400 years. It's gonna be like a greater than 0.5 probability, and we might even get like a higher higher level at some point, because especially I think like the trend has been, and especially like since like maybe 2000, the trend has been worse. So it might also be hard to grasp that there can be like positive trends, so that we can like am I online here, that we can like revert this progress. Like this might cause like a lot of like a lot of like anxiety, that we are, if we are like if we see that it's gone worse, and we might even like think that it's gonna get even worse, and it might get like But I think like this kind of thing, if you have like a negative mindset on the thing, it might be a kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy that we don't take actions to improve on this stuff here, then they become even more forceful, and we might get into this kind of like hopeless world. And especially if we can get here close to 100% at some point, it might be very important to get like from 80 to 85%. If we can make that jump here, because I think we have to think about in terms of some kind of like expected utility here. Like here we get the jump from there, I don't know. So what if this is kind of like the blue line, it's not like it's kind of dark blue, so it might not like expected utility or so if we think here, the expected utility is dependent. So let's have somehow like maybe cumulative is the word wrong, but like let's see, given given history, I don't know, but the point is that like if we make this jump from 80% to 85%, like say like starting here, then it's there's like a cumulative increase or kind of like the probability that we have like survive until some point is kind of like increase a lot. So let's have another like we have the survival probability here. So what if we have like we could like start over here, like we have a I don't know here, like let's have like a cumulative, maybe we can use this term now. So this basically measures this one that we have here. And now this feed to this like expected utility given the history, or this like I don't know, cumulative utility. So what it means that if we go from 80 to 80%, we don't just get like yearly utility increases here for this time here, but it keeps affecting us here. Like we don't like we cannot get like any utility from this increase here unless we survive until there, and we will survive if we have like this low kind of like or like high cumulative survival probability. So, and this is kind of like so if we manage to make this kind of effect, then we will have like it will like pay dividend for the until here to the end of time. And it is the more important, the higher the future probabilities are gonna be. So if you have here like 99%, and then we could have like a 99.9% over some time after like 1,000 years or something. So that kind of like increase the importance of getting there. So we would have to make some sacrifices here on our utility, for example, in terms of maybe this kind of like happiness, some kind of like if this is some kind of like hedonistic happiness, we can of course get happiness for knowing that we are gonna doing like good stuff that pays off later on, or if it kind of like affects our GDP measures or stuff like that. So we have to be ready to make that kind of sacrifice. Yeah, and I think that a lot of people might have like a too positive impression of these survival probabilities in our time, and I'm thinking again like on the next 100-year period or something like. I think that's next 100 years might be some kind of like a critical point that we have to be careful regarding these. And I think like by the next 100 years the technological progress and stuff like that, all of this good thing that's happening here, it might like they might become like they might start to like dominate the threats, like especially like if we get to the point that everyone is kind of like well off enough so that we have reduced conflict probability. So it reduces conflict probability if we are gonna like if all the people in the world have their base needs fulfilled, like and there's no, if there is no, the technology might also help quite a lot with the resource scarcity bit, like for example now we are like, there was a lot of like worry about like us not having enough like oil and gas and stuff like that. This was like 50 years or so, but now it's kind of like that we have alternative means of technology to have instead of those, and the problem has become that we have too much of those oil and stuff, so we are and we use them too easily and cause like climate change. Yeah, but there's like, but yeah, a lot of so as I was saying in the beginning, there's like two forces that I think that cause this kind of like people being too passive about this. And the first being like this, that there's people are too pessimistic that they don't see that in the future we would have like a lot higher probabilities of survival because of the these long run background processes that reduce conflict probabilities and through that like the collapse. If the pessimists might have like a too like negative view on like how bad the situation is and how permanent the bad situation is. And then there's people who are too optimistic and they look at how these statistics have gone and like maybe because like all the wars in the history have been, or all the crises, they have like just caused like some like minor dips before the growth is like continue again. Even like the world wars and like whatever black deaths and whatever have you not, and they think that like because of our greater progress in all of this stuff, we are more resilient to this stuff. But I don't think they account enough for this, that there's like the conflicts that we might endure are more destructive than they were before. There's and that's like a lot to do with the technology, that kind of like the dark side of the technology. And there's also like I don't know, yeah, there are progresses that are also like increasing the probability of these and there's also because of technology in general, there's like smaller and smaller, it takes smaller and smaller groups to achieve this for example, this engineer pandemic stuff. The technology is like regarding like the biotech stuff, and that thing, it's like it's developing so fast that it might not be so much time that some it might be like a smaller and smaller groups have the power to achieve this. Yeah, but I think that's kind of like a main thesis of this. And yeah, I think I'm gonna end this now. I'm gonna check like how, because I'm a little bit worried that this I don't think that it might be that the it might be that the stream quality like tech-wise wasn't very good. Okay, because of the OBS couldn't handle the camera